Okay, so our next examples is going through how to substitute and then solve for an unknown variable. So our first example here, we've got substitute each value into the equation and solve. So my first equation is y equals 3x plus 5, and I want to substitute x equals 5. So here we then rewrite this as y equals, and in between the 3 and the x there's a multiplication sign, so it's 3 times, and we're substituting 5 for x, plus 5. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 5, so y is going to equal 20. In our second example, we're substituting x as 7, so 2 outside of 7 minus 3. So we've got 2 times 7 minus 3 is 4, so that is going to be 8. In our third example, we've got y equals x over 3 plus 4, and we want to substitute x equals 6. So we've got y equals 6 over 3 plus 4. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So we have an answer of 6. Our next example requires some rearranging as after we've substituted. So our formula is x equals the square root of a plus b divided by c. We're then told that a is 4, b is -1, and x is -3. So we need to substitute that information in. So we're going to have -3 equals the square root of 4 plus -1 divided by c. So I've got -3 equals the square root, 4 minus 1 is 3, divided by c. Now to move the square root, our opposite operation is to square, so we need to square both sides, and we put brackets around this -3 when we square it. So -3 squared is 9, and that's going to equal 3 over c. To move c to the other side, we multiply by c. So we now have 9c equals 3, and to move 9, we divide. So c equals 1/3. Okay, our next example, we've got e equals a half cv squared. We need to substitute in the information we're given in the question. So we're told e is 96 and c is 6. So I simplify what I can straight away. So I've got 96 equals a half of 6 is 3 times v squared. Divide by 3 to move it to the other side. So we divide both of these by 3, which is 32. So 32 equals v squared. Then to get rid of the squared, my opposite operation is to square root. So we square root that. So the square root of 32 is equal to v. Now I leave it as a third because that's an exact value. If I round it, that's not actually the value of v. So we leave it as a square root unless it's a perfect square. Okay, we then have this formula here, x equals the square root of y over z. We substitute our information in, so x is 5 and y is 4. So the first thing I've got to move is the square root. Our opposite operation is to square, so we square both sides. So we've got 25 equals 4 over z. We move z by multiplying, so we times z because that gets rid of the fraction. So we've got 25z equals 4. Then to move 25, we divide by 25. So z equals 4/25. And we leave that as a fraction, just for accuracy. Okay, and our last example on this page here, we are solving for x. So the first thing that I need to do in our first one, which is 7x equals 2x plus 10, is I need to get all the x's on one side. So I'm going to move 2x first. So to move that to the other side, I need to do the opposite operation, which is to subtract. So we subtract 2x from both sides. 7x minus 2x is 5x, and that equals 10. In between the 5 and the x, there's a multiplication sign, so the opposite is to divide. So we divide both sides by 5, so x equals 2. Now you can check if your answer's right, because what you can do is you can substitute it back into this original equation. So if I do 7 times 2 equals 2 times 2 plus 10, 14 equals 4 plus 10, 14 equals 14. If it works, then I know that my answer is correct. If I didn't get an answer that equaled the left and the right, I would know that I'd done something wrong when I solved. Okay, our second example here, the first thing I'm going to move is this -1. So we add 1 to both sides. So I've got 3 outside of 2x plus 7 equals 9. I'm then going to move the 3, which has a multiplication sign in between it and the bracket. So we divide both sides by 3. So 2x plus 7 equals 3. I'm then going to move the 7. So to move that 7, I subtract. So minus both sides by 7. So 2x equals negative 4. And to move the 2, I divide. So we divide both sides by 2. So x is going to equal negative 2. Okay, in our last example here, we need to move our denominator first. So I'm just going to rewrite this down here just because the other one came past it. So 2x plus 11 divided by 3 equals x plus 2. So I'm going to times by 3 first. Now you need to put this side in brackets and then times by 3 because everything has to be multiplied by 3 on that side. So we've got 2x plus 11 equals 3x plus 6. We want to get all of our x's on one side, so I'm going to minus 2x minus 2x. So 11 equals x plus 6. Take 6 from this side to the other side so that x is by itself, and that means that x equals 5.